In April 1967, a Hollywood sex bomb arrived in the United Kingdom, and she had already created shock waves by smuggling in a couple of chihuahuas. Yes, get your teeth in for that, Neil. Chihuahuas, as she arrived into London without the regulation or, the sort of legal stuff attached to bringing animals into the United Kingdom at that particular time. Apparently, they only knew she'd done this when she popped up at an event later on, and then, of course, caused a lot of interest via that. The problems, though, really arose from the moment this international blonde star arrived. She'd been put together for a tour with Don Arden, that's the infamous impresario and father of Sharon Osbourne, so you can understand exactly how this was a fraught time. You see, at this particular time, this blonde truly needed the money. As ever, let me explain. Hi, good morning. Neil Sean here in the very heart of London. Nice to have your company. We're talking about a lady who had a pink palace. Yes, could have starred with Elvis in a movie and was a rival for a short time in the middle 1950s for Marilyn Monroe, alongside others like Kim Novak, Cherie North, Mamie Van Doren, you name it. It was the battle of the busty blondes. There's no two ways about it. We haven't had a wave. How are you? Yes. Sorry, I'm getting myself then. Yes, absolutely. Now, Jayne Mansfield, as I say, by the time she hit town in the spring of 1967 over here in the United Kingdom, it was fascinating, really, because she was on a nightclub tour, not necessarily the best nightclubs either in, of course, the United Kingdom, but they were paying her a lot of money. For instance, when she rocked up to the Batley Variety Club, she was being paid the equivalent of £20,000 for that particular week. And I was lucky enough to meet and become friends with the manager of the Batley Variety Club, a wonderful man called Alan, who told me many stories about Jayne Mansfield behind the scenes. Incredible when you think about it. But the early part of the, sort of tour all fell apart because she turned up with a man who was her latest beau, a little bit, shall we say, dubious to say the least, and allegedly did knock her around a bit, and she appeared on stage with bruises covered in makeup. But the other problem was simply this. They just wanted a blonde sex symbol, to breathe a few songs, get on a skimpy outfit. Jayne wanted to play the violin and recite Shakespeare. That was soon knocked on the head. But there were bigger problems, you see, because, as I say, Jayne required a lot of money. Now, she'd been booked to appear on the BBC One show Jukebox Jury. Big show at the time, of course, hit Miss or Maybe. Lots of big stars appeared on there, and it was this sort of cult thing that you needed to appear on if you wanted to be young, hip and happening. Jayne at this point was just a mere 34, but you can understand she still felt that she was in the thrusts of youth. 34 for a sex symbol, though, is a very dangerous age. Now, she appeared alongside Lulu, who I've also been lucky enough to meet and interview on a number of occasions. Lovely lady. And she told me also the problem with Jayne. You see, Jayne had decided that she was going to appear on Jukebox Jury, but she'd also signed an agreement with a rival show for a month later, ATV's The Eamon Andrews Show. That's right. Now, this was a big chat show, no two ways about it. And, once again, very high profile, albeit on the commercial channel. Jayne was allegedly going to be receiving around about $2,500 for an appearance, and they expected a lot of revelations. But they had no idea that Jayne had already signed to appear at Shepherd's Bush Empire on the panel for Jukebox Jury. Now they saw it and they said, right, we're cancelling your contract. Jayne tried to get legal and they realised that, they couldn't. She'd fallen out with the promoter Don Arden and suddenly found herself with nobody to represent her here in the United Kingdom. She turned to the Yorkshire impresario Bernard Hinchcliffe, who was also the main booker for the Batley Variety Club. Things were literally plummeting around her. As Lulu told me, though, she was an incredible woman, very articulate, very sharp, and clicked into character the moment the camera was there, and stayed into character literally throughout the show and meeting people backstage. But behind the scenes, just a very, very clever woman. Jayne never did pick up the $2,500 from the Eamon Andrews Show, even though she sent him a wonderful letter along with a very saucily inscribed picture of her from a movie called Too Hot to Handle. It was simply business, and they felt that there was too much Jayne on the television, and she had an agreement to be an exclusive deal. So it's interesting to note in the very final few months of her life, Jayne Mansfield was literally making money, but also walking away from money. And more importantly, what a legacy she left behind on that very short visit to the United Kingdom. She managed to get pictured with Edward Heath and did him a lot of favours by claiming she wouldn't mind marrying him. He went along with this. It was good publicity, not just for him as a Conservative and of course a future British Prime Minister, but more importantly squashed quite a lot of rumours. Anna Dawes pointed out, Jayne Mansfield was literally a one-off. You couldn't create her, she created herself. But more importantly, she was savvy, beautiful, and taken away far too early. But fascinating to find these insights out about exactly how Jayne lost thousands in the United Kingdom in the final months of her life. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.